Good morning. This is Playing to Win, right? Playing to Win. I got it right. Playing to Win with me, Mark Henderson Leary, and my good friend Brad Freyer. It's been too long.
It has been a long time. How the hell are you?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah?
Little COVID-y.
Yeah?
Day 4.
Day 4. Okay.
Day 4.
What symptoms have you...
Yeah. Day 4. With symptoms, irritation, inconvenience.
So asymptomatic.
No, right. No, I wouldn't say asymptomatic. I'm super fortunate. Duper fortunate. But a little minor fever. I slept a lot over the weekend. Did not sleep last night very much because I went to bed late and got up early because it's a work day. And but if that not have been the case, I probably would have slept more. I think I made the turn, actually. We'll see later today, but I think I made the turn. And so I'm feeling like hopefully the next 24, 48 hours puts this behind me. But my son got it because 3-year-olds, that's what their job is, to get it. And so he did that well. And so he and I have been COVID buddies for the last few days. It's been actually really cool because he hasn't had it really badly. And yeah.
Good. Glad y'all didn't get bad.
No, you've had your bout with COVID, and yours was worse than mine, and still not even that bad by comparison, right?
Yeah, I had it bad, and so yeah, we're hopefully still have the antibodies and the boosters and all that good stuff will protect me. I don't want it again.
Yeah, one of my clients had it 3 times, and I didn't
stop licking doorknobs.
Well, it was funny. He had 3 times, and the last time he had it was Delta. So I was like, "You got a 4th coming, buddy."
Yeah. Well, so have you outside of COVID, what's been keeping you busy? You got, we're in the 2nd month.
Yeah.
22.
So you talk about you mentioned before we started the show what I want to talk about, and it's probably some form of the conversation around abundance, because I do think that's a never-present conversation in these times, and I can talk about again the same. I can beat the drum on why I think that's important, but. Been wall to wall with clients and kind of waitlisting with clients now. And so it's, May is what I'm telling people, which sounds a lot like no to a lot of people, but
slow no.
It's a very slow no, which has been weird for me. The idea of having to say like, I can't really help you right now has been something that's very difficult for me to get used to. But when it reached the breaking point of, I had a client on the phone and I thought, if they say yes, I'm going to really have a problem here. And so that's when I raised my rate really high. So that was actually how I got myself the guts to raise the rate, because I was really struggling with that. So it's like, well, if they're going to say yes, this is going to have to work out.
It's got to be worth it. Yeah, yeah. But that's typically the catalyst, right? When demand outpaces supply, prices go up.
And then now I'm getting ready to raise my rate again, because I said it felt really high at the time. It feels really reasonable right about now. And so we're going from there. Also ran a marathon kind of over the holidays, dodging Omicron through Christmas. And if it was, the family was sick with like all kinds of things. And I wasn't sick, but everybody else was sick, and we were testing. Yeah. They were testing negative. I was physically testing them oftentimes, which I've gotten it's a skill I got now. I can do at-home rapid tests. I can do all 3 or 4 flavors. I know how to do them. I can all memorize. I know how to get the sample. I know how to read the results in terms of viral load. And so I'm really good at this. So,
well, all right.
But I was sure I wasn't going to hit the starting line because it was the peak of Omicron. Yeah. And, right around just after New Year's. And somehow I managed to hit the starting line, and somehow I managed to, even more amazingly, hit the finish line.
And it was very questionable what the weather was going to be that day, if I remember correctly.
Leading up to it,
absolutely nasty.
We were fearful of some rain, which, rain isn't that a big deal unless it's 36 degrees outside. Then that's a different animal, which it was 36 degrees and luckily dry. Yeah.
I remember I had some friends running in it, and they were very concerned leading up to it. And then it came out, it ended up being a beautiful morning. A little cool, but a beautiful morning.
Well, the wind, I don't know how much people want to listen to my marathon stories, but definitely the 36 degrees, terrifyingly cold in concept, but like when you get up at 4:15 to get to the GRB, the conference convention center. To be indoors, you want to be parked in the conference center by 5:30 a.m. because that's when they close all the roads down. And if you're on the other side of that, you have a problem. And there's like 11,000 of your closest friends, and everybody's getting ready to go out there. And so, it's this nervousness, just the intensity of like, I'm about to be outside in 36 degrees and not enough clothes for that. And then try to run all day. That was enough to kind of take the edge off of the start.
I don't know if it's like asking a woman what she weighs, but can I ask what your time was?
You can, and it's public knowledge. Not public knowledge. I mean, actually, no, it's not. It's publicly available. Nobody knows because nobody cares. but for those people, it's 5 hours and 27 minutes, which was maybe there's a story in this too. I've been training for a year for this, and roughly on and off, and I don't have a background of this. I'm not a long-distance runner. This became a pursuit of something that was patently absurd as a child. I mean, that was my earliest memory of stupid adult behaviors was the idea that people would run a marathon. I thought, that does not make any sense. I mean, if you're 5, it's like, why do people drink alcohol, and why do people run marathons? So, because everybody knows alcohol is yucky, and marathons, that's stupid. So, as I got to be older, well, actually, it was the last couple of years. Running became a real fundamental in my mental health, and it became part of my meditative combination of physical health and mental health. And I just sort of mentally plotted out that this works, this math works, that I could potentially do this thing. And what would it be to sort of conquer my own perception of myself to do that? And so a couple of months of pondering that, I said, I think I'm going to try for it. Well, then I got sick over the summer, and so I had to reschedule, and then it rescheduled again. And then finally, it got to be the fall, and I registered for this one in January. And then it was going great, and then I was pushing my training, which you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to skip steps in training. The rookie mistake is don't run too far. You really got to ease your way up. And so I did the classic rookie mistake, and instead of running like the 17 or 18 I was supposed to run, I was like, I really want to get to 20 because everybody knows that if you run to 20, you can finish the marathon. So I pushed to 20, and the next day after I pushed to 20, I could barely walk. And so the next 5 weeks, I did the math. I've been describing this 8 and 3, but I did the math. It's actually 5. The next 5 weeks under care of doctor was basically no running and training in the water and a cortisone injection a week before the race to start that. So my hope of finishing under 5 hours in the 4 range did not happen because the race was basically easy for me except for the last 20 miles. And so I had to push for the last 20, and I had to really conserve just for that last.
I was doing good until the second mile, and I really that second mile was the first one I got hit in the face, and it was downhill from there. Yeah.
So in truth, it was mile 9. It was I had definitely had been comfortable with my running into the 9, 13, 15. So I was like, fine. But when on race day, I got to mile 9. My body said, "You better think this through, because this is a razor's edge, buddy." And so by the end, there was a lot more walking. And then anyway, 5:27. It was a finish. I'm glad to have done it for sure.
Well, as someone who has had a mother and a wife who are marathoners, to your point about being a 5-year-old, I have watched many people cross the finish line and never once said, "Oh my God, that looks so fun." The pain and anguish on people's faces as they finish a marathon is nothing that I have any interest in participating.
That's funny. Well, I actually look happy because, I mean, the people who run it for a time, that's a different animal. Now, I might try that next year, and I might be really foolish. But for me, it was about the finishing of it. So I had plenty of cardio left. My legs just hurt and didn't want to move often. So managing cramps and managing not destroying my body. But like when I got to the last couple 100 yards, I was like, let's do this. And I felt so strong.
With the crowds and with people, I mean, that kicks up the whole level.
And they got signs. They got signs that say like, "Smile, you're on camera." Like, okay, don't look like you're weak. So I was so excited. And I felt like, man, I'm looking strong, man. Like I'm really kind of looking great. And I saw the video afterwards, and I look like a wounded giraffe. I'm just like bounding down. You could just see that this guy's not right. He's happy, but he's not right.
For a couple of days. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, to tie this into what our typical conversations rotate around. I mean, that's the quintessential, not following the process and hoping for a different result, right?
Yeah, man.
It's we want to take shortcuts. We want to do things our own way, and then hope that the outcome is going to be different than it ends up being.
Yeah, so there's that cartoon. I'm sure you've sent it. If not, and you'll pretend if you haven't. There's the football. It's a one painter. What do they call that? Like just one cell kind of cartoon. And it's like, all right, guys. So now that things are really getting tense and it's really serious, we just throw the playbook out the window and we just do whatever comes to mind. It's like, no, this is when it matters most.
Yeah.
This is when and so you're supposed to actually follow the plan and the training when it matters most. And it's funny. I think when I first saw it, I had to read it a couple times because it was almost intuitive that under stress you do panic. And in reading that in clear mind, it's like, no, you're under stress. This is the time you go to the playbook. This is what the training's for.
This is what you train for. That's right. That's right. So the lessons learned in hindsight for you, running the marathon and how it applies to business and the stories. I mean, why else would you run a marathon except for to derive some stories to share to clients and prospects in the future? So what story will you tell from this experience?
Actually, I ran the marathon just for me.
But now you're going to have to use it to tell stories. Otherwise, it's not a good,
Yeah, so that's the entrepreneurial rewrite. So when we do something because we want to, we then figure out how to tell a story as to why it benefits others. So
that's why we're here.
In the end, though, that there is, I believe that when I live my life, stuff that comes from that does help me teach other people things from it, and so. It was not intentional. I was not.
By the way, you're going to have to work on that opening because that was just shaky. All right.
Want to start over?
No, keep going.
Okay.
We'll work on it in post.
We got time. Post. Right. This is live. You didn't know that?
Damn it.
What were we talking about? How the marathon helps. So, I mean, honestly, I do. In truth, the marathon story has made it into many of my opening or sort of review segments from my client meetings. We talk about how the quarter went and how to assess that. I reset the goal many times. I was disappointed initially, and because I meant to run it in the fall, and I meant to run it stronger, and I meant to do all these other things, but in fact. I hit the exact goal I wanted. I set a bunch of measurements along the way that were how I think I like to, and my clients and friends use to judge progress, which is a learning tool. And hitting the fall run date in the place I intended, which was supposed to be in Marathon, Texas, that was just an artificial measurement. And when I had to change it, just had to change it. That was what reality brought me, and I adapted to that. And looking back on the outcome, yes, thank you for muting. Looking back on the outcome, it's an absolutely clean outcome. I mean, I changed my criteria. I was like, I want to finish. Well, it would be great if I could finish under 5. What if it was 4:30? And all this kind of stuff. That stuff was all just noise. Looking back at what I did, I absolutely did exactly what I intended to do in the world that unfolded in front of me. And I had to be ready for catching Omicron at the day before. I was ready for that. And I'm in my own head. I'm like, am I running with Omicron? Do I have Omicron? Do I dare test? Which I didn't. No, I did because I have it now. And now I know that's different. But that was the sort of reality compared to the goal setting.
Yeah.
So I coach a lot of clients to say, like, looking back, should you take the win for this? And when goal setting comes in, I when we're forecasting and predicting, I say, well, we're going down the deep well, but
that's okay because I recently finished Atomic Habits.
Nice. Okay.
Have you explored that one yet?
I've not read that, but I know James Clear's stuff. I know his kind of approach to that, and I've read some BJ Fogg and some of the habit stuff for sure.
Yeah, and it kind of. There's some pieces in there that really had me thinking counterintuitively to things I've promoted for 20 years, and one of the concepts he talks about in there is is what's the real point of goals? Because goals can be, I'm sorry, there's a raccoon just running across the back. Raccoon.
A raccoon. Okay. I imagined a vacuum going. I thought that doesn't make sense at all. That would be worth. You should turn the camera around.
Distracted by a raccoon. Yeah. So the concept of goals being counterproductive in some manners, because the achievement of a goal is some people have this perception that achievement of a goal is going to create happiness or fulfillment, but then what's on the other side of that goal, but maybe another goal that's pushed out. And so when you're looking at goals, it's not always about the achievement of the goal, but sometimes it's about the habits we're trying to create that will be more long lasting than the goal itself.
For sure.
Which is something I found interesting. Not to say that setting a goal for business or setting a goal for running a marathon or anything else is bad. It was just it was something I hadn't contemplated before, which is there's a lot of things like number one New Year's resolution, lose weight, get in shape. It's really not about getting in shape. It's about creating healthy habits and a healthy lifestyle. And
well, if it is, I mean, hopefully it is, but it's worth asking the question.
Why? Well, why? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's just grossly assumptive for me to say, well, why wouldn't it be, right? Yeah, I mean, you don't want to get in shape and then get fat again. The goal would be is that you hit a goal and then you somehow maintain or.
Well, I don't want to be devil's advocate, but if you're a wrestler, you're trying to get to your weigh in, right? You're losing weight to get to the last second to weigh in, and then next day you want all of that back. So there is a purposeful question. You should bring it to that.
That's what I'm saying. I guess the question is, and we're kind of far off of the marathon at this point, but the question I've been. I care. But the question becomes, are you setting a goal because it's something that needs to be or wants to be achieved, for whatever reason, or are you setting a goal because you really want to change the way that you do things?
Yeah.
Right? Because, to your point, if I've got a wrestling match and I need to get to weight, well, there's a definitive point, because you have to gain weight to build muscle mass, and then you have it's healthier to have weight on you while you're training, and then as you're getting to your weigh-in, you try to purge all that, you try to dehydrate yourself so you can get down to fighting weight. But for normal people,
right?
Is it the goals or is it the habits that we're really trying to?
Well, so to that point, so in parallel concept, Dan Sullivan. I guess it was Dan Dan talked about it, and I'm trying to think if it was him or Benjamin Hardy who brought the concept out. But gap in the gain, that's coming back. So
love that one.
I think it was Dan Sullivan's concept. He just kind of offhandedly says, well, there are some goals, some objectives are more about learning, and they're learning goals, and which means that they're almost impossible to predict right, and because you don't know enough. And his point was sort of like the goal of it is not to get the number or whatever. The goal was to try and discover behind the scenes. And so that got me thinking. And so now when I coach my clients to goal setting, I say there's two kind of goals: progress goal and learning goals. And what's the difference? And if a progress goal is something you basically know how to do, 80% of the knowledge is in your possession. You need to make progress. You need to open this facility by the fall. And that means you need to break ground by the spring and have permits going. Okay, cool. So we're going to stay on track. 80% of the knowledge to get this done is in your possession, and you should have relatively high prediction accuracy, and we're going to track progress through this. Well, let's flip this around. There's something, we're going to open a new market. Have you ever opened a new market before? No. So we 20% of the knowledge is in our hands. So what can we predict? That once you start, you're going to learn a lot. And so whatever you're thinking your progress is going to be, probably not it. So let's understand that the goal is not the progress as much as the learning that goes with it, so we can increase our accuracy and then maybe even decide if we want to pursue it or not. So the goal kind of goes inside itself. Like, are we trying to hit the stated objective, or are we trying to get inside it so we can know more about it? So understanding the point of where we're going is really important as well.
Well, it's interesting because in Atomic Habits, it talks about motion versus action. Mm-hmm. Motion would be all of that learning, right? And you've got two things taking place when you're trying to improve or trying to head in a specific direction. You've got motion, which is there's stuff going on, but maybe you're not taking steps. And then there's action, and action is the actual advancement of the tasks or the direction. And so you could actually tie those together, right? It based on what you just said, your motion is that learning, right? Because the learning won't actually create action unless it's put into action. And so the learning is the motion piece, and the action is the steps and the headway that we make.
Right. Well, it's just
that's interesting. That's good. I like that.
And so thinking about, we're getting way far afield, but I think this is important stuff to understand, because sometimes you have an exponential reaction, exponential growth. You're going to spend several weeks developing a campaign, and you're not going to launch the campaign for 12 weeks from now. And so you're going to do a lot of work for 12 weeks, and it's going to be highly valuable, but it's not going to produce the result you want, which is new customers for a while. And so you go to, like, I signed up for snowboard lessons, snowboard school for spring break. And the way they do it, it's like classroom for the first morning. Like, there's no snowboarding. At least so that's not the output you want, but that's the foundational level you need to do. And that kind of ends up being part of the learning component. Oh, I want to be, jumping by lunchtime. Well, nope. We're going to do some learning first, and then we're going to see if we can put it on the ground.
Very nice. Yeah, snowboarding is, I've heard, is very challenging.
You seem like a skier more than a snowboarder, or are you just, is that right?
I'm a skier, yeah. I grew up skiing, and in fact, 2 years ago, went on a ski trip with a bunch of buddies, a bunch of guy friends who were going again next weekend as a guys group. But 2 years ago, I had a buddy of mine he had convinced me that he was going to learn snowboarding because he had 3 sons and he wanted to learn how to snowboard with them. So he's like, "Come on, Freyer, let's go, man. Let's learn how to snowboard." And I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, I can do this. I wakeboard, I wake surf, blah, blah, blah. We can do this." So we get to the house the first day and everybody's unpacking, and he starts pulling all this shit out of his bag. He's got wrist guards and butt pads and elbow. And I'm like, "What is all that?" And he's like, "Oh, this is the stuff you need to learn how to snowboard." And I'm like, "I don't have any of that." And so I was like, "You know what? Forget it. I'm out." I stuck to skiing. But I will tell you that he is an extremely athletic guy, very coordinated, very talented guy. And on the third day, he was hating his life.
Wow.
But on the fourth day, he was getting it dialed in. But he took a beating for several days. So it probably won't happen to you.
No.
But be prepared to take a beating for a while and just
don't tell the people at the ski lodge because you're not supposed to take the group lessons if you have gone before. But I did it before, and okay. I got it by the third day. Okay. And so they say 3 days. So that's
all right.
I too am wicked athletic.
Wicked athletic.
That's right.
Clearly.
You ever seen the movie Zookeeper?
Yes.
With Joe Rogan?
No.
I think I'm saying the right movie. I think it's Zookeeper. It's the one with anyway, Joe Rogan. He's wicked athletic, and anyway, it's a funny scene. Now everybody's lost, but basically they won the dance competition. Well, because I'm wicked athletic, and that's just that's what we do, even though we'd never danced before. So
I'm sure it's Joe Rogan and not the big guy that always does movies with Adam Sandler.
That was Joe Rogan for sure. That particular character. He's a total jerk.
I didn't know Joe Rogan was actually an actor.
Oh my God! No, he's brilliantly funny, and he was on news radio.
A comedian. Back in the news radio days. Yeah. I didn't know he still was. Okay.
Yeah, brilliant guy. Too brilliant. Controversial, but yeah. Anybody who's successful like he is, you should assume they're brilliant, and he is, even if you don't like him.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate you're just not allowed to be controversial anymore.
Let's talk about that.
See, I was just controversial, and you paused for a minute, and you were like, "Freyer, I don't know if we want to go down this path." And
no, I mean, I don't know. I think I was like, I don't think we're controversial enough.
Well, don't get me started.
Why not? You're scared, aren't you?
A little bit, yeah.
They say what lives on the internet lives forever.
Exactly.
I don't think it's true. I think it's conspiracy.
It's conspiracy. Yeah.
By the liberal Republicans.
Republicans.
Yeah. Bleeding heart conservatives. I think the bleeding heart conservatives are behind this.
The bleeding heart conservatives.
Yeah.
The Democratic Republicans.
That's right. Which is a thing.
That was a thing. Yeah. Well, I learned that through Hamilton.
That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I learned, my daughter actually even told me this. She said, Dad, I got so many good grades in history because I was so enamored with Hamilton.
Oh my God. I was ahead of my time. I had a chance to get a 1B in history, and that was my shot. Didn't happen.
I always enjoyed history. But you did not throw away your shot.
I did not. That's nicely done.
Anyhow, thank you very much. How are we doing on time? I don't have my eyeballs.
I'm feeling like we are going to run out of time, and I'm sure the audience is like, hope this shit ends soon.
We've been off the. You know what? This is a clear indication that repetition matters, because we've been out of practice for 2 months, and we jump back in, and it takes a little while to get back in the groove.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, part of it was that I was in a different situation. I had to get my tech figured out because my COVID situation.
We're going to blame it on COVID. Well, I'm not blaming it on COVID.
Yeah, I absolutely should blame everything on COVID. That's absolutely. I was thinking we should have done that in the first place.
Disclaimer.
I do want to talk more about abundance, though.
Today's episode could suffer because of.
Right. So I do want to talk more about abundance, because I think it's an ongoing thing, and maybe we can leave a teaser for next time. Although I don't know when our next time is. Maybe is it Monday? Are we back on track? It took me a while to get my schedule locked back down, but I think it's locked down. Monday is Valentine's Day, right?
You taking a holiday on Valentine's Day?
I might have to, because I'm traveling that night. So, but I could probably do the show that morning. So I will find out. If it's not a conflict for you, it's probably on the calendar, and we'll find out.
I don't subscribe to these, commercial holidays.
It's a Christian holiday, Saint Valentine.
Yeah, but is it?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not Christian, so I don't know why I said that, but I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, but is it? All right, so maybe next week, maybe not. But abundance, we're going to talk about abundance, because abundance is an important piece to success. You got to have the belief and confidence that, if you want more is out there to be had.
Nope, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that humans are wired for crises of scarcity. We have all throughout history had to deal with famine and drought and disease, which we've got now, but that's not the problem that we're facing as a civilized. Now, some societies are, but in this Western world, we're not facing that exactly. And so when the crop doesn't come in, we're in pain, but we know how to tighten up the belt, and things kind of come into focus for us to deal with scarcity as leadership and all that comes into play. Abundance, however, is not a natural phenomenon. It is not natural that we have so much damn fruit and so many damn animals that we can't stop eating them. That we have so much, opportunity in our villages that we don't know what to do with it, and we figure that out. Civilization and modernization has made that very possible, and so we've been dealing with abundance of food for decades, if not centuries now. And humans, we know from the weight loss and dieting and health, industry, humans are just bad at that problem. So now, what happens when anything else that looks like abundance shows up? Too many clients, too much wealth, too much whatever. Too many clients and too much demand, especially as a business world, we're not really wired for that. And so when we just run out of ability to handle that, we're trying to hire more talent, retain our existing talent, and we say, well, let's dial this back. Let's maximize this. Well, we don't do that very well. And so most of the clients I work with right now have some form of an abundance related problem. Now, there is a scarcity problem sometimes in the talent, but that's not where the pain seems to manifest in terms of our ability to solve for it. And so there's four things we can do in sort of the talent situation. And in the next 10 seconds, the teaser for next time is we can hire better. Ways to do that. We can retain our people better. We can make our work more efficient in the form of process automation or something else. Or the hard one, because those three are sometimes not in our capacity to change very much. The fourth one is we can learn how to say no in some way. We can do less to match what we've got. And that's where people have the most power and the least success. So that is what I'd love to continue to talk about. I think there's a lot to continue to learn about it. And maybe we'll talk about that next time if we remember.
I like it.